Hey guys, Meshi here. I apologize for bringing you another part of Stellar Blade with no actual legitimate audio. I fucked up, I had the mic muted, I did not know any better, so we're here narrating it. So if you've been following the series, I'm very sorry as this upload is coming quite fucking late because I've been incredibly lazy.
No blade, just like an Altus.
So here we're coming into the Abyss Levoire, so this, much like the other laboratory, is another tech facility. And pretty much this entire time I had my mic muted, so we're gonna be manually narrating it so I can at least try to salvage it, and it's not terrible. But basically unprofessional streamer hours, not that I ever claimed to be professional anyway. So this, unlike the other laboratory, is actually quite dangerous. There's a lot of deadly traps and shit in here that we'll come to find. There's a lot of saw blades, there's a lot of laser traps, there's a lot of crazy enemy ambushes, there's a lot of crazy shit, so.
Let's head towards the fan.
Yeah, like that. So this room starts out really industrial and like really welcoming, and the giant fan looks like really cool if you look at it up close, and then you get up close and then you realize there's a whole bunch of grinding gears and saw blades that are ready to mince you to pieces, so. I feel like this game does a very good job at that. So this game, unlike any other action RPG I've ever played, and I think I say this a bit later in the playthrough, is it has a very good variety of mix-ups. Like, the gameplay is really interesting. Not only is it dynamic in the sense that you get to climb around obstacles and interact with the environment and figure things out in real-time action sequences, you get to explore and you get to expand your loadout and everything like that, and you get to change your build and like what you're working with and everything like that. So yeah, so here you can see I'm a little bit spooked, I'm a little bit concerned. Not really looking forward to this fucking place. If I remember correctly, I think I do get chopped into pieces 1 or 2 times here, but I don't think it's all that bad. It might have only been once. But yeah, this place is super fucking deadly, it's really scary. And, the first part of it sucked, and then the second half was not so bad. But this first part, like, the way the physics for the fan work, and the way it blows you around, is very hyper-directional, and, it's a little bit silly. And then I also get stuck in this part, if I remember correctly. I think I was running around for, like, 5 minutes trying to figure out what to do, so. Yeah, be prepared for that. Alright, so here we leap into the fray, and I think we get diced here, like, really fucking quick. Yeah. See, I stopped running, but the fan kept my momentum going and pushed me into the blade when I hadn't ran into it. So, like, I think this part was really dynamic, and I think it was really cool, but I don't appreciate the fan physics. I think the fan physics are a little bit bullshit, but I think I said this before in the playthrough as well, that, like, none of the checkpoints in this game are absolutely unreasonable. Like, none of them are bullshit. They basically throw you right back into the action, so it's like, if you die, it's not really a big deal. Like, you don't have to reload a save, you don't have to go back and watch a shit ton of dumb cutscenes, you don't have to go and talk to an NPC 20 times. Like, it just throws you right back into it. I love that.
Over here! Hurry!
Yeah, see, I didn't know the movement pattern for that saw, so I was kind of like, what the fuck? Just snap second response. But I think this is the part, if I remember correctly, this is where I get stuck for about 5 minutes. There's some things on the fan that you have to shoot, much like the last Altus, and I couldn't find the last one, and I was running around trying to dodge this stupid blade and like the fan and everything for like a good few minutes. Oh, and I will say one other thing. So, the final stream for Stellar Blade, the final stretch, the audio on my OBS fucked up, like the audio from my capture card fucked up. I don't think that was my fault, I think it was a technical error. So I can only apologize for this series being so goddamn fucking scuffed. But I really, really came to like the game later on. As much as I had a few grievances with it before, I came to really like it by the end of it. And this has been one of my favorite games of the year, like of the decade actually. This is probably one of the better games I think I've ever played. And for a mobile game developer company to be able to come out with a masterpiece this fucking solid is nothing short of impressive as fuck. Like, the action is really fun, the combat is really fun. I have a few gripes with the way, like, the intermixing of the gun aiming and stuff like that works, but... like, all in all, the gameplay is really solid, the enemy variety is pretty good, a lot of the boss fights are really cool. Like, a lot of this environmental challenge stuff and the acrobatics that you have to do and all the dangers and stuff like that are really fun to experiment with. I'm glad that menu came up. So the support system is probably one of my biggest gripes with the game. I feel like the grenades determine a bit too much and they're a little bit too heavily abusable. And I also believe that the heals that they give you are a little bit extreme, I think, for the way the gameplay is tailored. That isn't to say that, like, they should give you a little bit of room or a little bit of edge to be able to overcome a fight, but I feel like they give you too much, and it almost feels like it misbalances the game, in a way. So, that was kind of one of my more major complaints about it, but all in all, the game is really, really good. A lot of the harder bosses in the game, I think I first try, like, pretty much all of them. There's this bitch later called Raven that we end up fighting, and she was a little bit of a nightmare, but she wasn't that bad. I think she only killed me once, and it was with, like, a stupid extreme one-shot move or something like that, so... I will say that, like, the one-shot moves in this game are a little bit stupid. There's some other ones where dynamically you need to shoot some things that hang around in the air to prevent it from killing you. And those are fine, but Raven didn't have any of that. She just had, like, an insanely uber damage move or something, and... that's kind of unappreciated. Like, if there's a workaround, if there's a way to get around it, I'm cool with that. But, like, if you give the boss a stupid dumbass one-shot, then it's kind of like, what the fuck, you know? No, like, all in all, this game was really, really impressive. It really, honestly, trumped every expectation that I had had for it, so... I think it's cinematically beautiful, the music was heavenly. The boss designs were really, really neat and really interesting, and no boss felt quite the same. The adapted, reused content where they bring bosses back and have rematches with them and everything, and all the rest of the side content was actually incredibly appealing because it felt like they put in the work and the effort to change the boss dynamics a little bit and give them more moves and more aggression. So it actually felt like it was testing your muscle memory from the fight that you had had previously with the new fight. And I thought that was really, really neat. And a lot of games, I feel, don't do that kind of justice to their own products. So, it was a really pleasant surprise to find in this game, I think. So we're finally past this stupid Death Saw Blade rube, and I can quit babbling on like a fucking idiot, so we finally get to progress. But yeah, if I remember correctly, I don't think this laboratory was too bad. I think the boss was pretty easy. I think a lot of the enemies were really easy. I think if I recall later, there's some parts that I really, really did not like. I just did not appreciate them. One of them is this cannon sequence, and one of them is like a giant laser grid trap thing with turrets or something like that, and I did not like that part at all. But later when you go up into space, the game gets really, really cool. Oh yeah, that's another thing actually, so I'm glad that popped up as well. Is, as plentiful as the upgrades are in this game, in case you happen to miss a few, I feel like it's a little bit too basic. There's not as much depth as I would have liked when it came to the support constructs, with the gun bot turret and with the grenades and everything like that. And it almost feels like there should have been a supplementary, like, third combat option. So, like, normally you have the guns and you have the support grenades and you have the, sword. And I kind of wish it had, like, 4 or 5 different combat components. And it just didn't. So it felt like there was something to be desired a little bit. But other than that, I think for the most part, the combat was pretty good. I think it provides an air of stability and a little bit of an air of comfort and familiarity as you progress and play through the game. And you come into the possession of new skills and like new swordplay mechanics and stuff like that. The tacky mode is really cool, but I found that I really didn't end up using it all that much. And as cool as it looks, it doesn't really provide that big of a benefit or a boon to a lot of the later boss fights. But it doesn't feel misbalanced or anything. Like, it doesn't feel like it does enough, but it doesn't feel like it doesn't do enough. So it feels like it's an integral construct to help you win a fight rather than something that you have to depend on. And I kinda like that. Like, I don't want just a trump card that I can pull at any time like Neo 1 where I can just go into Living Weapon and just spam a button and kill a boss. Like, I want something dynamic and I want something interactive that'll help support me in defeating the boss but not dictate the outcome for me. So I want the outcome of the fight to be decided by skill, basically.
There must be a panel to open the gates somewhere.
I don't know why, but I was gonna say predicted right there. But yeah, again, I apologize for this playthrough being so scuffed. I apologize for having to manually narrate this. I know it kind of takes out the immersion of the game, and I really wanted to prevent that, especially with this title. Going forth in the future, I'm just going to, like, triple check everything before I stream, like, every time. Because this is becoming a bit of a rampant issue, and it's kind of hurting the quality. But the good news is this is the other part that I wanted to tell you all. I think I have found a way to mend the later parts of the series where the audio is very, very low for the game. But I'm going to basically, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to manually do the music. And I'm going to have to take the audio from the cutscenes from a collection and input them over where the cutscenes would have played, if that makes sense. So the only real downside, honestly, to this is that you guys are not going to get combat audio. Like, you're not going to get sword slashy sound effects or getting hit sound effects, which I believe is fine. I think you guys can deal with that.
The gate security is
But
down.
again, I apologize for the series not being everything I hoped it would be in terms of quality. But nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed this series, because I certainly did enjoy this game. It is fucking awesome. I really do think it's incredible. I do think it's worth a couple playthroughs for sure. I do think you're getting your money out of it in a lot of respects, and then in some other respects, not so much. Mainly with some of the combat, but graphically and musically and the narrative of this game is a really beautiful allegorical sentiment, and it's just, it's a really good game. Like, it's kind of a masterpiece, and honestly, like, the shortcomings that it has from a mobile game developer, sorry, I'm having, like, mouth typos, the quality that you get from a mobile development company is absolutely out of this world. Like, it's fucking absurd that they managed to make a game this good, just for their first swing at it. So this is a little optional room that we can do, and it's going to net us an outfit, I believe.
Feels off somehow.
So basically this is a giant laser grid room full of insta-death and lasers, and we get an enemy ambush here, I think. And I guess we're not doing this right now. Okay, so I guess I backtracked this way because I knew that was going to be trappish or something, if I had to guess. So I guess we're doing that a little bit later. Or do we go back and do it right now? We go back and do it right now. Okay, that's what I thought. Like, I have the memory of doing all this stuff, but, like, it's a little bit weird. It's, like, a little lost in translation, I guess. Yeah, so this little laser spins around the floor, and all you have to do is dodge back and forth and avoid the enemies and not get hit by anything. I don't think the mini laser will kill you, but it might. But I know for certain the wall lasers will, so I kind of applied the same logic. Whether it's one laser or three lasers, whether it's going around in circles like Twister on the floor, or whether it's, you know, just a stationary wall, it's a giant infrared beam full of concentrated fire death, so I think not touching it is kind of the goal. But as you can see, not too bad. We nailed us another outfit. And we're good to go.
We're safe.
So not too bad, not too bad.
This feels like too much risk, not enough reward.
Oh yeah, and Lily. That's the other thing I definitely appreciate about the game. Fucking Lily, dude. Ideal girl right there. Tomboyish mechanics, super supportive, wholesome as fuck, cute as shit. Perfect. Okay, so somewhere in here, I remember there's a bar that we have to jump and grab or something. And here I'm kind of looking for the way to progress forward. So there's either a power switch or there's like a bar that you have to jump up and grab. And then I remember going up toward the ceiling, but I don't remember how. Like, I don't remember what way. Yeah, I get grabbed a lot because, like, my reaction time is actually pretty good. It's just I feel the game doesn't read it quick enough. So it's like, if you don't know it's coming, the interval to be able to press the button is not, like, immediate. Like, it doesn't work right away. Like, it takes it a split second, so it's like, unless it's like a snap response, you don't get it, pretty much. And I think I do fall here, because the physics get a little bit wacky. So that's one of the things I don't like about Stellar Blade, is like the platforming for this game. One of my major kind of gripes with it, it doesn't feel very fluid, and it feels too fucking floaty. And like the physics are all kind of whack. It's a little bit doofy. It's not terrible, like it's not unmanageable, but like it's a little bit much. See, like, right there, she's just, like, flipping over the rail. Like, I'm not trying to do any of that. It's just the movement of the game is too fast. And it's like, it's doing a whole bunch of shit that I don't want it to do. Like, see, like, right there, it's just, like, it flies over the rail, and I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to move back and forth on the platform. And, like, I can't do that. Like, I need to move back and forth to avoid the projectile, but... like, if I do that, it kind of sails me over the edge, and it's like, there's nothing I can really do about that. It's just... I think going forward, like, if they make a sequel, which I would very much appreciate, like, I'm not even kidding. Like, if they released a sequel to this game, it would be a day one buy for me, without a doubt. They need to work on the physics. They need to work on the floatiness of the movement, and they need to make it a little bit more, sewn together, I think. Because for the other elements of the game, the floatiness really contracts and pulls away from how stable everything else is. Like, when you're in melee combat with something and you're deflecting and parrying and slashing, it feels very, tactive. Like, it feels like you're kind of stapled to the ground. And, like, I like that. I like the stability, I like the stance, I like being rooted to the floor. And, like, in combat, it kind of makes it feel a little bit more pressuring. But then, like, the movement, while I like it being quick for combat, and quick for area traversal, I don't appreciate being, like, super fast during critical platforming. And there are some smaller platforms in the game, unlike those ones, which were pretty wide, and even on the wide ones, I still had issues. So, like, the smaller platforming segments are, like, kind of nightmarish. Like, they're not unreasonable given the checkpoints and everything that they laced into the game, but I think if they were to develop a sequel, they kind of have to, like, fix their platforming mechanic stuff and make it a little bit less airy. Like, I want the jumps to be more deliberate rather than floaty. But if I remember correctly, I think we have, like, one more major section, maybe two. I remember a lot of iron towers and an electrical water floor. And that's, again, where I experienced some platforming issues, because the game was just kind of wacky at that point. But There's one other section of a laser room, and I think we did that really, really fast, and all that required was being very, aware. It kind of required just, like, looking at the room before you undertook it, and preparation, and, like, that's pretty much it, really. I think there was the time that I fell into the lava because the game, like, read one of my get-ups as a get down or something like that, but, like, it really wasn't all that bad. And I can't remember how far in that is, but I know we're coming up on it.
Eve, did you see that?
The other side of the gate is crawling with Naytibas.
Oh, come on, it's been crawling with Naytibas the whole goddamn game.
Inside.
I'll try to find a way to unlock the gate.
It's okay, they're just hanging out, they're just loitering. Like, honestly, if you got paid 20 bucks an hour to just sit there and hulk around someplace, I would totally do it. Here's the room with the upper part. Okay. Yeah, here's the room with the upper bars that I was thinking about. It was a little bit further in. But I guess it was just for a little optional goodie. That's another thing, so like, I like there being hidden optional goodies, I just wish they were a little bit more integral. I like the drone upgrades and everything. I like the, there's a few other upgrades you get, like to your suit and stuff like that, so you can reinforce all your, equipable things. I forget what they're called. The exospines, or like the exoskeletons, or whatever they are. I like that, but like I feel like there should have been a little bit more variety in the kind of upgrades that you get.
Back to the gate.
That was kind of one of my major complaints, one of my major gripes, but at the end of the day, it's not a really huge one. It just kind of feels like the game could have had a little bit more padded into it. But maybe that's just because I've been spoiled by games that have far deeper combat construction and far deeper accessibility and build making and stuff like that. Because I'm very into action RPGs, and this is an action RPG. But like, it feels like a watered down, more story-based, story-focused action RPG rather than one that's very heavy on combat. So given that combat isn't exactly the primary focus of the narrative of this game, I think it's fine. And I think it does enough to maintain interest, sorry, another verbal typo. I think it does enough to maintain your interest from start to finish. And the game isn't ridiculously, ludicrously long. Like, this game is beatable in like 8 or 9 hours for sure. Like, especially if you're really good and you don't need to go after all the upgrades and everything. This game is absolutely beatable in about 8 or 9 hours. Yeah, see, like, I was trying to be a little bit tactical right there, and then I get punished in the back because I'm trying to be smart, so. I mean, the game expects you to parry everything, so, like, it's kind of my fault for not going, like, you know, how I'm supposed to do it, like, a little bit against the grain, so to speak, but. Yeah, shotgun is, like, really powerful in this game. Don't underestimate the shotgun. It took me a very long time to figure out how to equip it, because I wasn't using it for, like, the vast majority of the game, but I finally figured it out, so. Yeah, shotgun is pretty fucking strong, you just don't fuck with the shotgun. Shotgun is ridiculous. So, like, throughout the entire game, I think you guys have seen up to this point, I've been pretty much just slugging everything and pistoling everything, and using the pistol for a lot of the boss fights and everything like that. I never figured out how to work the shotgun.
Yeah, repairs are taking forever.
Okay, so if I remember correctly, this is either the laser room or this is the Iron Tower room, but I think it's the laser room.
I can see the exit.
Yes, okay, this is the laser room.
This won't be easy. Lily,
So honestly, this looks really imposing and it looks really bad, but it's really not all that bad. So the next part coming up, you guys can kind of use as a sort of guide if you need to get through this part. Because I could imagine, like, for a lot of people with, like, visual dyslexia, this part could be a little bit frustrating and a little bit hard.
That switch should turn off the security.
Oh wait, did I turn mic on after this? I think I did. Okay. Yeah, so honestly, like I said before, all you have to do is really look at the room before you make a lot of moves. So if you just look at the room segment by segment, you can kind of break it down rather than having to do it all at once. And I feel like that's where a lot of people are going to kind of struggle, is they're going to try and overload themselves with movement and where they're going to go directionally. And I think that's going to cause people a lot of problems, and it's really not needed. So like you jump onto this rail, you hang below so you can dodge the laser right there. And then I think this is where the game, yeah. Like, you can see me say, what? Like right there, like I pressed fucking X. Like I know I pressed X to get back up and it dropped me down. And I was really visibly confused. So yeah, you hang off this rail, and then you get back up. But before you get back up, you want to look around and see where your next destination is, because you're walled off by certain upper lasers. So if you just look around and you scope your surroundings, you can kind of get a feel for where the game expects you to go from point to point. And that's kind of how you want to use this sequence. Like, you want to just break it down bit by bit by bit. So I look around quite a bit here, honestly, more than I thought I did. So we get back up and we hop over to this rail, and then we drop down again. And then we hop down again. I think, if I remember correctly. No, I think we hop back up this one and we hop over the one in the middle, I think. And then we drop down on that other one. Ah, okay. Yeah, see, my friend in chat is sitting there saying, like, I don't miss this part, and I'm like, it's honestly not really that bad. Like, if you stop to think about it, it's not really terrible. You just gotta be smart about what you do, and, like, be smart about when you decide to go, and, like, when you decide to make your moves. It's really not all that terrible, though. They give you plenty of a time frame. It's not like it's very precise in terms of timing or anything like that. So I had to get up there to get, like, a view of, like, when the laser is gonna be where, physically. Once again, the beats in this are so good. Like, I cannot express how good this fucking soundtrack for this game is. Absolutely incredible. Alright, so our next goal is getting up to this rail above. And then we can hang here for a while. I think this part would be a little bit harder if there was a lot of pressure and you had to move, like, very deliberately and very fast, and it was a trial and error sequence. But I'm honestly rather glad it's not. Because when they give you adequate time to be able to scope out what you want to do, it really takes a lot of the punch away. And it seems more of like a puzzle and a logic exercise than a, oh, you need to know exactly what to do right now or you're gonna die 50 times until you just memorize the entire thing after dying enough. And it's just like, that kind of sucks. I don't really like that kind of game design. I think it's kind of garbage. Yeah, so like right there, like you have to drop down onto that rail because you're not gonna have the time. Like the wall will catch you up if you don't do that. So it's like, as long as you plan your moves and you plot out your shit accordingly, like it's totally fine for a room. It's not really all that bad.
That was really scary. Let's head to the gate on the other side.
Like, it's absolutely an easy room. Yeah, so there you go. That's how you beat the laser room. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next part.
Sorry for the wait. So, shall we head out?
Too late, we're already here.
What? How? Isn't the security system online?
Adam, can you check our proximity to the hypercell?
Give me a sec. The hypercell is just past the research lab.